Hey everybody, welcome to We Run on Reruns. I'm Amanda and I'm here with my brother Eric.
How's everybody doing out there this week? We are here with Stranger Things Season 3. We are coming to a close. It is Episode 7, Chapter 7, The Bite today. And we've only got a couple left. This is an 8-episode season. So we've got this one and we've got our next week's podcast that wraps the whole thing up.
Can't believe we are already at the end of Season 3. This one went by pretty fast.
The seasons
and
go
I know
quick.
that, yeah, and listen, we've talked about this. The season is a little bit controversial with how people feel about it, and I've kind of gone up and down in different moments, but it's really, as a whole, contributing so much to the overall story, I feel. And it's been a really fun season to rewatch for sure. I kind of remember all these details, especially Billy's story is really what this one is centered around.
Yeah, there are a number of components throughout this that I think are what drag people down. Specifically, I think it has to do with the Russian base and some of the antics that go on there. And also, maybe the way that Hopper is acting throughout this whole thing.
Yep. Yeah.
His,
some of the relationship dynamics are.
Well, that's
different.
the other thing. That would be third on the list. Third on the list would be like the fact that they are making us very aware of Hopper and Joyce and Mike and Eleven and Lucas and Max, and like all these relationships are also becoming issues. Not to mention Jonathan and Nancy, or Steve and Nancy, if you will, or Steve and Robin, which we'll get to later. But this is definitely a very I think this episode's a good one. I think this is on the better scale. We'll see where I haven't actually written down my rating for this one yet. I wanted to talk it out before I got there.
Yeah.
But let's find out.
Yeah, I feel like this season as a whole is, when you really zoom out, it contributes to a lot of the development of these relationships, but it does take a beat to get there. Like even just the group coming together, it's not until the end of this episode that you see the kids come together, but we still haven't even seen the adults connect with them, right? So it's like it's just played out so much differently than previous seasons, and I could see where that could be a little bit jarring to some viewers. But
and like when the kids come together, not to jump too far ahead, but when the kids come together, there's kids that are like, "Who are you?" And it's Robin.
It's the introduction.
They haven't actually met Robin yet. They have no idea who that is. They're like, who are you? And then she's like, "I'm Robin. 11's got superpowers." Who's 11? Blah, blah. And it's like, holy smokes. We've got like, everything's got to be put on the table right now for all of this. Because the funny thing is, Dustin and Steve and Robin and Erica are all worried about this Russian base. They don't even know about the Mind Flayer.
No, not at all.
They don't know anything about that. And that's the thing. I think the other story is more consistent. Like, we know that story. We're familiar with that story. That story makes more sense to us, even though it's more far-fetched. The Russian base side is definitely, it's just the way that things rolled out. You know, it's not that the story is poor. I totally believe that story is realistic. But the way that they were able to just get around the base, no problem. No,
I know.
I'm not having
and
that.
I have some believability issues in this episode as well.
Oh,
and we will get there. I'm like, okay, why did that happen that way? Maybe could have been written a little bit different, but these are still so much fun to watch.
Yes,
so
I agree.
I've really been enjoying the rewatch for sure. So yeah, well, just as a quick reminder of where we left things in the last episode, we had Hopper, Joyce, and Murray gathering more information from Alexei, and they were alerting Dr. Owen's people that the Russians are attempting to reopen that gate in Hogwarts. Hawkins. We had Dustin and Erica saving Steve and Robin from the Russian guards as they were about to be tortured for more information. We also had 11 connecting with Billy's memories, which allowed her to finally locate that source. And in the end, we saw the Mind Flayer growing to be a lot more powerful as it consumed countless people from Hawkins that it had under its control. So, like people like Mrs. Driscoll, unfortunately, rest in peace. She has now become one with the Mind Flayer. And that's where they really come to terms in this episode that we'll see, where if they kill the Mind Flayer, all the flayed, they're also dead. Bye-bye. Which one would assume? So this is chapter 7, The Bite, and we open up to the entrance of Mayor Kline Presents the Fun Fair. And
this is such a great thing, by the way. I love the idea that they are also, like, while all this is going on, the entire town of Hawkins is at this, like, classic small town fair with the games that are rigged, as Murray talks about later, and all the food at the carts and the rides that get put up in 30 seconds. This
brought me back.
Yeah, and this is offset by all the chaos going on everywhere else. You got the Russians doing their thing. You got the Mind Flayer walking through the woods and stuff. And everyone is just like, la, 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 let's throw darts at a balloon. It's kind of crazy.
In their own world, not noticing what's going on around them at all. It's great.
It's so wild that this is like the offsetting rest of the town. Like, this isn't somewhere else. This is in the same town that all that's happening in.
Yes, and a lot of it then starts to happen right there in the fair, as we'll see. So Mayor Kline is giving this speech. He's trying to pump up the crowd. And then we have Ted and Karen Wheeler there with little Holly. And I love that we get to see little Holly here as, we see her again in later seasons. But here she is on the Ferris wheel.
She gets her first line in this one.
Yes. Like
she was present in season 1. And she was present in season 2, but she actually spoke in this one.
That's right. That's really the distinction for sure. She's just right. She's more because I think the most interaction we saw from her before was when she wandered into the buyer's bedroom, and she saw the monster start to come through the walls before Joyce grabbed her. So we have them on the Ferris wheel, and they are stopped at the top because Karen said she slipped the operator a 5 so they could get the best seat in the house for the fireworks. And I love that moment because Ted is sort of panicked, and Karen was the one who set all this up for them. So it's just more into the dynamics of their relationship, but. We also see Holly looking off into the distance, and she's like, telling her parents she's seeing the trees moving, and they're like, Holly, why are you looking at the trees? Look at the fireworks. So Holly is noticing there's something going on, and no one else is seeing this, and no one else is paying attention, and it's right then that we get the credits roll. So a much shorter intro, I would say, than we've seen in the past, and we get an idea of what's to come in the episode, but not as much action before the credits as we've seen in some prior episodes.
You stacking this up next to the others, all this does is remind you, hey, that thing is out there.
Yeah.
And it is in the woods because Holly can see all the trees bending.
That's right.
I mean, she says to Karen, like, hey, the trees are moving. And she's like, look at the fireworks. And it's a fair response from her, too. Because it's like, okay, the trees are moving. Like, the trees always move. But
what is it, the wind? Right,
But Holly is definitely noticing additional movement in the woods. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you're at the top of the Ferris wheel. What are you going to do about it? And even if you saw that much movement, you're going to chase it down? Like, I don't think you are. So, it's fine.
Well, then we have Elle telling the group about the conversation with Billy.
Yeah.
So she's saying, he said he was building something and it was all for me. And, they know the Mind Flayer knows 11 now and that she is the only thing that can stop the Mind Flayer. And 11's telling them how Billy said they're all in danger and it really wants to kill all of them. So just then Nancy is also hearing something outside of the cabin. And Will is then also feeling the back of his neck again, and he's saying he knows that we're here.
He knows.
So, yeah. So at this point, they all go out, and they see the Mind Flayer. It is like, Eric, how far away would you say that was? Like a football field?
I'm glad you bring this up.
Because this is where I have some issues. Yes. To me, it felt like it was right there.
It's not that far. Like, especially at the speed that it's walking. It's not that
huge.
far.
This thing is massive at this point, too. So
right.
it could have just taken a few steps and it was there.
I mean, a football field, maximum 3. Like, it's not very far.
Right.
And they're all standing out in the open and can see it very clearly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm thinking, like, get in your car. Like, the car was right
time
there,
to go.
too.
Yeah.
Right. Time to go. But yeah, instead they make a different choice. So, but at this moment we go back to a different scene with Steve and Robin where they are all crazy and giddy and drugged up because remember in the last episode they got injected with that truth serum. So. Yeah. They're with Dustin and Erica who don't know about that, but they could tell they're acting all drunk and weird, and they're telling them, they're trying to get them into that little golf cart thing and saying, let's get out of here. They're losing patience with them, which I can imagine anyone would, because they're trying to stay on track. And they manage
not only are they trying to stay on track, but they are also trying to escape as Alexei calls it, impenetrable Russian facility.
Yes.
So they are trying to get out of the thing that you can't even get into if you wanted to. Yes. And they are scrambling. And they're all just like, la, 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 la,
oh,
la.
My gosh. Yeah.
Making jokes.
Yeah. So they somehow manage to get back to that elevator and they're going, back up to.
But they got a card. They got a key card now.
Yes.
So they can move it.
Yes. And Dustin and Erica, they're just like, are you guys drunk? And Dustin's looking in Steve's eyes, like trying to figure out what's going on. And then he's asking him, hey, where are your car keys? And he's like, they took those from me. So we don't have them anymore. So they finally get outside, but they're spotted right away and they have to run back inside through a different door. So it's just, there's a lot of, it's almost like that cartoon scene, Eric, that you would describe.
They did not run back into the elevator.
No.
They ran into the mall in a side entrance.
Yes.
Which is noteworthy because that would be like they weren't trying to get back down to the Russian base at that point.
Right.
But they were now being chased by what I wasn't sure, like, is 2 guys. Right? It wasn't very clear if this was just mall security or if it was more Russian guards.
Right.
The way Dustin reacted, it certainly seemed like they were more like Russian guard style. But anyway, they run.
I guess they had to assume the worst.
Because part of me would have been like, hey, go talk to these guys.
Right. Like, how are you knowing? Right, exactly. Well, now we're back at the cabin. And this is where they're kind of just casually battening down the hatches, is what I have in my notes. I feel like this is the urgency here wasn't quite what you would expect. Plus, like we were saying, the Mind Flayer, it was right there. So they're now back inside. They're able to take time to seal up the windows. I felt like this really didn't add up.
And then they say, like Will says, like, it's close. And you hear it around the outside of the building.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, did it not see them?
I know.
Do they think that they were out of vision? Like, you all saw it, it can see you too.
Or is it one of those situations where it just really enjoys the hunt and it's just creeping up.
This is like the Predator, where where it doesn't see perfectly. So if you've got like mud on you, then you can't be seen somehow. Or
it knows that they're all in there, so it's taking its time at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the kids were making very good decisions here. They were kind of all over the map, but they are in there. Yeah. And they are trying to batten down the hatches. Although, I mean, they're stacking things like chairs and microwaves in front of doors.
This thing is just
going to... know this thing's just taking down the wall, right? We are aware of what's happening here.
Yeah, it's very strange, but I think, obviously, they wanted this great scene where they're all standing then back to back in a circle in the center of the cabin.
Which is not a bad spot. Like, that's not the worst idea.
Yeah.
That is not bad. Like rally up and be ready.
Right. But as they know, I mean, 11 is really the only one that can take this thing down. So we see the Mind Flayer's tentacles start to bust in right through the windows. And Jonathan is like hacking away at it with an axe. And it almost grabs him. And Nancy then starts firing at it with the shotgun. But after she gets a few shots off, it's grabbing Nancy, and 11 then is saving Nancy again with her powers, pulling its tentacle back and breaking off the end of one of these tentacles. And it pulls back for a second, but then it starts darting back into the cabin, and 11 is then having to use both of her hands to hold this thing off. But then, Eric, it is that coming right through the roof, and it's grabbing 11 by the ankles, right?
That's the thing. Like, you get that first tentacle that comes through, and then, like, she rips the top off of it, basically. Yep. And then 2 more tentacles come through from a different angle.
Yep.
And she stops them, rips the top off of them, and then the roof just opens up, and it is, like, peering in to the entire cabin from above. And it grabs a hold of 11's ankle at this point.
Yeah, and all the friends outside of Nancy and Lucas are just holding 11 for dear life so she doesn't get pulled out of here. And Nancy continues to shoot it, and Lucas is grabbing the axe and he's hacking away at it as well. And they do actually, they're able to pull 11 back down, but at this point, 11 has part of its tentacle, like the mouth of it, almost attached to her ankle, and Mike is just trying to rip it off, and it sort of scurries away at that point, because it has like a life of its own, and
well, it's all still controlled by the Mind Flayer, all these things.
Yeah, so... they're able to fend it off a little bit, but the Mind Flayer, it's still looming over the cabin. And that's when 11 is able to get back up and she's forcing it out. And part of it like explodes into this slimy mess.
It looks like she takes what is somewhat a face of this thing.
Yes.
And splits it in two.
Yes.
Like you would take an axe to a watermelon and just break it into 2 halves. And then they all are able to scramble out to the car. And you can see this Mind Flayer like turn around, and it's got like 2 flopping heads like trying to reconnect themselves together. But
no, it's like
they're able to get out to the car and get going,
which they could have done before. But now I guess they're deciding to get to the car. It's like, all right, well, at least they're driving off at this point. Nancy is driving like a bat out of hell, right? But then we're back with Steve and Robin busting into the greatest movie of all time. So we get to the scene and we see Back to the Future.
You're not going to get an argument here. Not going to get an argument.
We see the movie poster for Back to the Future. So I love this reference too, because this is accurate. Back to the Future premiered on July 3rd, 1985. And we're here and it's the 4th of July at this point. So this just makes perfect sense. It's great. So we get, this episode is chock full of just references to Back to the Future. So if you're a fan, this is the episode for you. They have a lot of the music playing, a lot of these like funny references that come up. So this is awesome.
There are a lot of subtle moments too.
Yes,
as well.
That's right.
Little things that I feel like they put them in the right position.
So good.
That looked like a scene from Back to the Future.
That's right.
Even though, like, if you didn't know, you don't know.
Right.
But if you do know, it's obvious.
Yes. And that movie also just has amazing music. The score is great. So I love that they pulled bits of that into this episode. So good. So we have Dustin and Erica are just like, you know what? Let's let Steve and Robin just watch the movie while we adults will talk over here and regroup for a minute. But Dustin is also then saying to Erica, you know what? Why don't you watch them? Because watch Tweedledee and Tweedledum, as he put it. Because he wants to try to connect with Mike and the others. He's trying to figure out where they are.
They're up. Yeah, they're on top of the ground now.
Yeah.
They're upstairs, so they should be able to hit him with the radio.
That's right.
And so they're gonna try to do that.
Yeah. But then we also have a scene with Murray and Alexei
Love this.
This is so good. Where they're in the back of this convertible now. And we have Hopper and Joyce in the front seats, and Murray, they're having a conversation about the location of the key and the machine. They're trying to figure out, well, how do we turn this thing off? And Alexei's trying to give Murray directions. They're talking about needing the 2 keys, as we saw in the first season, how 2 people had to turn this thing on, and they have to do it at the same time. They're talking about how they have to enter Planck's constant. And Eric, I looked this up, and it's like, it's this complex equation for the universe's fundamental pixel size for energy. So it's like, I had no idea what this concept was, and still don't understand it fully, but yeah, that's it was no an equation.
But the idea that it is a scientific number,
yes,
makes sense to me.
And
that's all I need.
And with this in mind, Alexei this is where he's describing it again as an impenetrable fortress, right? So I love that you have that paired with the other scene where like the kids were in this impenetrable fortress. It's wonderful. And Hopper and Joyce, they start bickering again. And
Hopper
he's upset.
This is where I have issues with Hopper in a big way, but he starts saying things like, okay, when we know that all this is going on, and what are we going to do? We're going to the fair to rescue the kids from the 4th of July celebration. And it's like,
yeah,
you know better than this, right? You know better than this. Now, that being said, they don't know that, like, anything from this gate is out and dealing with it, but they do know about the gate. They know that the gate is trying to be opened. Like, Joyce is right to be trying to find Will.
And knowing what they know about the kids, like, hello, Will senses these things, and who 11 is, they should be assuming that they're somehow now involved in what's happening. Like they're not just hanging out at the fair. These kids are gonna
know.
Yeah. No. And Hopper is, upset with Joyce because he's saying that she yelled at the military like she was at a parent-teacher conference. And then Murray starts to yell at them. He's flipping out. He's like, listen, we have a long drive ahead of us. And he's telling them to cut this out because just admit that you guys want each other, okay? He's telling Joyce that, sure, Hopper's a brute, but you're curious, right? And he's telling Hopper, that you're just a big man baby who would rather act tough than show your true feelings. And this shuts them up finally, where he's like, guys, just get over it.
Very astute is Murray, the same way that he did with Jonathan and Nancy. He puts Joyce and Hopper right in their spots and goes, okay, so there's that. And then, of course, Murray and Alexei start laughing with each other because Murray explains to Alexei in Russian that they haven't had sex yet.
Yes.
And Alexei's like, what? And they just start laughing. And it's like, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And this finally does. Hopper's face was hilarious. And they both were just in silent contemplation at this point. So then we're back with Mike at 11, and he's telling her, oh, yeah, sorry, I skipped a little bit ahead in my notes. So we're back with the kids, and Nancy does what I would call the most insane 80s like cop arrival into this grocery store. She like does the thing where the car like does a 360 as she's parking. Like that was
as one does.
Overly dramatic.
That seems right.
Okay. And she's parking in that Bradley's Big Boy. So Eric, is this the same store that 11 in season 1 blew out the doors? I think it was.
I think so. I did not go back and double check. It does look similar.
Yeah.
So and being that we've been shown this store before, I would imagine that they just went right back to it for sure.
Yeah. So they're breaking back into the store, and this is where they're bandaging 11's leg. It looks really bad. Max is helping out here because she's fixed a lot of skateboarding injuries, but this definitely goes beyond that. But we have Nancy and Jonathan also talking about how this is where they're mentioning, listen, we need to kill this monster. And yeah, it's going to kill all the flayed, like Mrs. Driscoll that Jonathan brings up. But we have to end this. That's the only way. So you see, and I'm sure at this point, Eric, they're also thinking about, Billy and all of those other people that.
Well, I think Max kind of alluded to that.
Yeah.
Like where she was kind of like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like there was a moment where you could read her face where she recognized that means that Billy's going to die here.
Right.
And that was tough to handle for a moment, but she understands that, listen, what else are we going to do? We have to get rid of this thing.
Yeah. And we also have Lucas seeing this fireworks booth where he's gathering up all the fireworks and he wants to shoot them at it, which I'm like, hey, Lucas, like this is better than the slingshot, right? Like we need to move beyond the slingshot. So sure. And Max is sort of making fun of him. She thinks it's ridiculous.
He found the firework called Satan's Baby that's got an 18 plus, restriction on it, which, by the way, I would imagine that almost all fireworks have 18 plus on them, unless you're sparklers and stuff like that. But this thing was supposed to do all sorts of crazy. Yeah. And so they've got this lined up like for the Mind Flayer. Yeah. And of course, Nancy does not believe that this will work in any way, shape, or form. So
or Max. Or,
like, what's the point?
Yeah. Or maybe was Nancy there too saying that as well? Or was it? So.
Oh, I thought it was Nancy. Maybe
I think it was Max. Yeah, she had come up and she's just like, "This is ridiculous. What are you doing here?" But Eric, I'm thinking, well, I mean, this is also the 80s. This is 1985, as we've established. But I know in New Hampshire, this is still a thing where you can just really just buy fireworks anywhere, but not all states are like this. Like I lived in Massachusetts for a while and not so much. You would never see this in a grocery store, especially. But maybe Indiana.
No, you can buy them in Ohio. Yeah. And there are fireworks like distribution places that you can go and get them. They do sell really small stuff like in grocery stores and things like that, but not Satan's Baby.
Yeah, no, right. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
That seems kind of extreme. I mean, to be honest, I'm not a big fireworks shopper. Yeah. So I guess I don't really know. Maybe they do, but I don't think so. Yeah.
But I feel like all the regulations around that stuff in the 80s was a bit different. So this is more.
Yeah, they didn't have them.
Right. So
did not have them.
And then we're back.
The only other thing from this scene, though, that I found funny was Lucas looking for a bowl in the cereal aisle, saying like, "Well, where else would the bowls be?" Like, because they've never gone grocery shopping.
No.
It's like moments that make you remember they're still kids.
Yeah, they're not buying the groceries.
And it's like, well, where would the bowls be? Like, what else do you like? There's nothing else you could eat in a bowl. Uh-huh. And I'm thinking to myself, nothing else you could eat in a bowl. Yeah. Lucas, come on, man. You never had anything else in a bowl, only cereal in a bowl, never had soup,
right?
Never had ice cream, never had any of these things. Like, these things also go in bowls. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, valid point.
I mean, that's the two that jump to the top of my head, not to mention a million other things, I'm sure.
Well, then we have Mike and 11 in the aisle where he's telling Mike is telling 11 that, listen, being broken up is hard. And he knows that he was being selfish and unfair. He's really trying to apologize here.
He is doing a very good job, I think. Here. We got to give Mike credit where it's due.
Thank you. I felt the same way. I'm like, listen, he's reaching out, trying to connect, and I love this because it is so incredibly awkward. He is trying to convey to her that he loves her without saying it, because he's just like, he's saying, blank, blank. He literally says blank makes you crazy. Which I love. And old people say it. And of
course, yeah, and 11 is like, girlfriends make you crazy? Boyfriends? No. Old people. Like,
it's
and
so funny.
Just, it's one of those moments that makes you realize, oh, right, 11 has no worldly experience. No. None.
No.
So, like, when you're trying to, get her to understand the word love by referencing, popular phrases, that's just not going to happen. Yeah. Like, she doesn't know him.
Nope. And he's all like, well, what I want to say is, and just keeps stumbling over his words. And then he's interrupted by the walkie-talkie going off. It's making all these sounds, crackling sounds. And then we jump to a scene with Dustin where he's saying code red on the walkie-talkie, but he's trying to connect. This really is not coming through on Mike's end at all. Dustin is trying to say, listen, I wasn't mad. Well, I was mad, but I was trapped underground in a secret Russian base, saying, it's the goddamn Russians. But Mike, again, he's not hearing any of this. It's really just static. And Dustin is trying to tell him that he needs help, and he's totally out of batteries at this point.
And all this is set to the concept of Back to the Future, yes, with Doc and Marty on the radios back and forth to each other at the clock tower. It's great.
Even the camera is like angled in this certain way where it's, it looks just like the movie, and it's amazing. It was just like Marty and Doc talking on the walkie-talkies. Loved that so much. I knew you would too, Eric. So
that was great. And I mean, they made it very, like, even if you didn't know Back to the Future, they played the music during this scene.
It was right there. Yeah, it was very on the nose, and I appreciate it.
So obvious. Mm-hmm. Now, there are some other things I think that they do as well throughout this, but that one was as on the nose as it's going to get.
Yes, that made me really happy. So then we have Dustin back in the movie theater asking Erica if she has batteries. And I love this so much because he's like, yeah, I need 8 of them. Because she's like, well, who carries batteries on them? And he's like, I do. I carry batteries.
Right. And then she's like, so then what's the big deal? Like, you need batteries. You carry batteries.
Not that many, I guess. Yeah. This is a lot.
Dustin, start carrying 8.
I bet from this point on, he will. He's going to up that supply. So then he's saying, well, we need to go to plan B. And this is also kind of a very Back to the Future moment, because it's like, yeah, the first plan isn't working. We need to resort to something different. And they notice that also Steve and Robin, they're not in their seats anymore. They got up and ran off. So Erica I guess she was just enthralled by the movie, and
I can't blame her.
No, can't blame her. So she did not notice that they ran off. So we see Robin trying to explain the premise of Back to the Future to Steve.
So good.
While he's drinking from the water fountain. He's like, wait, so the mom? Wait, that's the mother?
I'm pretty sure the mom is trying to bang her son. It's like, what? But you're not wrong. And then it's like time travel. The whole idea of time travel. It's like, well, they're in the past, but you got to go to the future. You got to go back to the future, and the future is the present because they're in the past. And it's this whole time travel sequence where Robin's trying to explain it, but she doesn't really know what she's talking about, and Steve is only half understanding what she's saying, and they're both out of their minds.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they start looking up, and all the lights are just more exciting. So they start staring at the lights.
Oh, man. Yeah, they're looking up at the lights, just like tripping out totally at this point. The ceiling starts spinning, getting all crazy. And then they both feel violently ill. And luckily, Eric, a bathroom was right there, because the scene could have gone down very
could have gone real bad real quick, but they were able to stumble their way to a bathroom quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, they were at a water fountain, so I'm hoping that the water fountain was maybe outside the bathrooms.
As they
but
normally
still,
are.
they got there.
Yeah. But then we have a scene with Hopper and Joyce where they're leaving Murray and Alexei in the car at the carnival while they are like, we're going to go find the kids because they're still convinced that the kids are going to be there. So they walk right by.
I'm still not sure why they think that.
I don't know either. Like, they must have told them at some point that they were going. But Eric, that part always confused me too. I don't remember that.
I think the thought process has to be like, well, everybody in the town's at the fair.
I think
so they must be there too.
I guess.
I don't know. I've never really tracked that logic.
It's a stretch.
I mean, like, and this is part of the thing. Maybe at the time, maybe in Hawkins, like, I know the town that I live in or am adjacent to.
Yeah.
That when they do their fair, a lot of people go. Everybody's going to the fair.
Yeah.
For sure. But is literally everybody going to the fair? I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's...
People might stop in for a minute or two because it's free to get into, so there's no, like, charge. But I don't know that everyone is there.
I can only assume it's like an annual tradition for them to all go because otherwise... why? Right.
Because why would you just not have spoken to them and assumed that they found their own way to the fair? Yeah. I mean, maybe it's just because, hey, they're kids and this is where all the rides are, right. And they would be having fun here, so that's the most likely spot. I don't disagree with that logic.
Right. But with everything going on,
but with everything going on, and you know that like Will is going to be able to sense some of this stuff, and 11's around, and you think that that's the guaranteed locked in place that they're in the action.
Also,
you know it.
You know, Eric, something else I thought of here is that because they know Larry Kline knows more about what's going on here, and they know that this is like his fair that he's putting on. So you would have thought that they would have been keeping their eye out more for Larry, but they walk right by him and Larry spots them. And that's when Larry runs back to his car and grabs like his Zach Morris cell phone from his car.
That's exactly what I called it. It was like he ran back to his Zach Morris phone.
This thing was huge.
That thing was perfect. It was literally the same phone. It has to be. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't think that they were thinking, oh, we got to go find Larry. They were looking for the kids.
Yeah. Well, he spots them and he's calling the Russians because he's like, hey, I see. These people are the ones that you're supposed to be tracking, and he spotted them first. But then we're back at the grocery store with Lucas drinking a New Coke, which, Eric, I don't remember New Coke. I think New Coke might have already been gone by the time that soda was really in my...
No, New Coke was
Really?
around.
It was?
But yeah, well,
Okay.
So what I wrote, well, hold on. Before we get into New Coke, I just want to say that this scene opens with the visual of Elle with her blindfold on, trying to find them, like in this very zen position as she is in front of a wall of Eggos, which is amazing.
I'm so glad
that picture is great.
Yes.
And they're like, well, she's trying to find him. And meanwhile, the rest of them are having this conversation then about New Coke while she's doing her, like, in her plane, searching for people.
Trying to find Dustin. Right.
Trying to find Dustin.
Yeah. That's so good. Yeah.
But yes, then there's this whole debate about New Coke. And I actually had a flashback to How I Met Your Mother, which we talk about on Friends a lot.
Yeah.
Where Barney makes the argument that new is always better.
Oh, that's for
new is always better. And so then Marshall is like, okay, well, I'll buy you a drink. Do you want the 20-year aged scotch or do you want the newest scotch they've got?
Yep.
And he's like, I'll take the new one. Like knowing that it's not nearly as good. And this is the situation that they're in here where Lucas is arguing, hey, this is the sequel. The sequel is better. They made the first one. Now they've made improvements and made it better. And this is the better one. And this is, again, talking about sequels with Back to the Future playing in the whole time. Like, this is part of it, as that is a very famous trilogy at this point, which they didn't know was going to be a sequel at this point in time, technically, because it's only the first one.
But number two,
being released.
I mean, not to go down that rabbit hole, but it could be argued. I know you and I both feel like number two is the best.
will argue till the end of days that number two is better than number one.
Love it.
And I have, but I'll tell you what, there's like a wave of young people out here.
Yeah?
These new people who are like, oh, the third one's the best.
What?
I know.
I've never heard this argument.
Nobody says this, but people, like, I think the kids today who didn't grow up with it, they view that one as the most interesting. Why? I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
It's the worst.
I mean, listen, I love all of the Back to the Future movies, but the third one is definitely not the best one. It's the worst.
It is the worst of the three by a clear margin. Yeah. It's still a great movie. Don't get me wrong, but it is the worst of the three. But that being said, we have this Back to the Future, new Coke debate. I just love the fact that they found a single can of new Coke.
Right. Love that.
Like they.
Yeah.
And I do like the idea that most of the gang is like, Lucas, you're wrong. The original ones are always better. It's not the sequel, which is probably the take that most people make about all movies and sequels and things like that the first one is better, including people probably talking about Stranger Things. The first season was better than the second one.
So true. Yep.
People are probably saying that as they go. So, yeah. It's a very on the nose
love that
debate that they're having while 11 is searching for Dustin.
Yeah, and she's ripping off her blindfold at that point and saying, Dustin is at the movie theater, and they're sort of like joking around, like, oh, leave it to Dustin to be at the movies while all of this is happening, and not knowing.
Like, why would he be at the movies?
Not realizing what they've located there, clearly. But, then I love the moment where we see Lucas just wheeling out this shopping cart full of fireworks as they're leaving the grocery store.
Well, and here's the other thing. It's funny. My wife brought this up as we were watching this whole thing. She's like, so is no one working there?
No, this is after hours, right?
But like, the whole fair is going on. Like, how late after hours is it?
It's almost as if like everything in the town closed down for this fair. Literally.
I said, well, maybe literally everyone is at the fair, that they shut down all the businesses.
Yeah.
And so they're walking in here just taking whatever they want.
That's a great point. Yeah.
What?
I know.
Like, this is insanity.
Right, like, you wouldn't think...
nobody at this store?
Although, Eric, I do feel like... I mean, this obviously is extreme, but I do feel like, in the past, for holidays, it was so much more common, especially in a small town, for things to really just close down because, hey, listen, everyone, this is a holiday. Everyone is celebrating. No one is working, right? And nowadays, it's
Fully agree.
You always have to have someone on staff just in case someone wants to buy a last-minute pack of hot dogs or, like, someone, forgot some supply. You don't want to miss a sale opportunity, It's just very different.
Does that mean that these stores were all just burglarized on holidays forever? Because that seems too obvious. Like, there's no security.
They better set up some cameras. That's all I have to say. But
that's what I'm saying.
Listen, if the Russian base didn't even have cameras, then this grocery store definitely doesn't have cameras.
Well, that's another story altogether.
Well, we do have, as viewers, after the kids leave the grocery store, the camera pans down to Elle's blood on the floor, and it starts congealing and moving on its own, almost like that goo did when the flayed have died, but not as aggressively. So it's not like scurrying off to connect with the Mind Flayer, but it's alive. Like, there's something in there.
It's moving, and the idea is, this is the first glimpse you get that it's like, oh, like, it's in the blood.
Yes.
And then you get the idea that, oh, it could be like in 11.
Right. Because once it's attached to someone, there's something that gets left behind. Right.
Right.
And then we're back with Robin and Steve on this bathroom floor. So they're like still, after they've been violently ill, throwing up. Luckily, they made it to the toilets. But they're both now sitting in separate stalls. And she's asking Steve if he's been in love before. And he talks about...
Well, they're trying to ask each other questions about to make sure that they'll give honest answers.
Oh,
so that it's not that they're not under the spell of the drugs anymore.
Right. And he talks about Nancy Wheeler. But then he starts talking about this other girl that he really likes now. And of course, he's referring to Robin here. And she's listening in from the other stall. And he's saying that this girl has made him laugh so hard and she's amazing, and really going on. And Robin's not saying anything. And you could tell she's kind of putting her head in her knees and really doesn't know what to say. So he's moving into her stall at this point and is asking, so what do you think about this girl? And, he's saying she's really awesome. And Robin is like, listen, you don't know this girl. And she's saying, if you knew her, I don't think he'd even want to be her friend. She's saying it's actually shaken her to her core because she really likes him. But she's also then explaining her story more about when she was talking about Miss Clickety-Clack's class and how she was obsessed with him because Tammy Thompson wouldn't stop staring at him. So she's giving more context to that story from earlier. And, Tammy Thompson was obsessed with Steve too. And even though he was so ridiculous and he was a jerk. So Steve is not getting all of this at first at all.
And all she wanted was she wanted Tammy to stare at her.
Right. And Steve is like, well, but Tammy's a girl. And then he's like, oh, and he's putting all this together that she's coming out to him and he's taking a lot of time to process all this. But I love that just after a moment, he's like, you know what though?
Such a great response.
Tammy Thompson, she was such a dud. And
like, why would you want Tammy? She's awful. Like, and starts like just hammering home on Tammy and the two of them just start laughing about it together. And it's great because it shows Robin, like, no, he still wants to be your friend.
Absolutely.
Like, you guys can be friends. Like, it's okay. And it was a great scene and immediately made me think you gave the earlier scene with Robin a lot of crap. How do you feel about it now after seeing the follow-up?
Now it makes more sense. Yeah, I forgot exactly how they connected the dots here, and now it makes me appreciate that scene more. So now that I'm kind of connecting the dots, it's like, okay, because I wasn't really following. I'm like, how is the continuity gonna work here? But okay, that's making more sense here.
I will be on. I didn't remember exactly how it went down. I knew that this happened.
Right.
I wasn't sure when or how it broke out. But I, first of all, on a rewatch here, love how they did this. Really like how they did this.
Yeah.
Where Steve is, pursuing her, and then she kind of flips it around and is nervous to tell him because she thinks that he's just gonna up and leave and not be even friends at all. Yeah. And he completely this is another one of those moments where if you weren't a fan of Steve's already, you become one very quickly because he understands and is empathetic or not empathetic, but is
embraces,
accepting,
accepting,
of the situation. And he puts his own feelings on the back burner because he just moments ago was telling her how much he loved her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now he's got to throw that away and go completely into let's be best friends mode.
For a teen, this is very impressive. I was going to say
it's incredibly impressive.
I was going to say for a teenager, but really for anyone at any age. I feel like this is to set your feelings aside and really see someone for who they are. And it's like, listen, regardless, I love this person, you know, and he then just wants to be there for her and just have that connection with her in any way that he can. And it really was a beautiful thing. So I appreciate that. And I think also it goes a lot towards, just Steve's character development and allows us to get to know Robin so much more. And I love how their friendship is really just going to blossom from here. So it was really nice.
And it also gives them something that they know that no one else knows, that kind of keeps them connected a little bit tighter than the rest of the group.
Yeah.
Because here's the other thing. As we know, we talked about, like, the gang's coming together here not too long from now. And if you don't have that sort of bond, it's really easy to, like, write Robin out.
Right, yeah.
Even though I think she's done a fantastic job and everybody loves Robin.
Good point, yep.
You know, now, I mean, listen, we're through season 5. Everybody loves Robin.
Yes.
Like, nobody dislikes Robin, I don't think. But you could have written her off here if you wanted to.
Sure. Yeah. We feel more of that connection to her. Absolutely. So I love how in the scene, you know, then they start laughing hysterically. They're singing, you know, because I guess Tammy Thompson sang like a Muppet is what Steve is saying. And
like, she wants to be a singer. She can't even sing.
Yeah.
She's awful.
Yeah. And
like, so she has goals. No, she's not going to do anything with them. Like,
yes. And
it was such a great pivot for Steve.
Because,
like, a really great choice on how to go with this.
And then we have Dustin and Erica like finding them in the bathroom, and they're like, what the hell? Because they're just sitting on the ground laughing, and they're like, we're in the middle of this crazy moment.
Well, you have to assume that Dustin and Erica are barging into the bathroom thinking, man, these two are on so much drugs still. And they're not on.
They're actually,
They're just hysterically laughing with each other, which is great.
Yeah, because now that they've been sick, it's like they've now, the drugs have left their system so they can return to normalcy for the most part. So we have this really brief scene then with Billy, who has tracked down the blood that Elle left behind in that big boy grocery store. And Eric, he's dipping his fingers into it at this point. And for a second, I was just like, don't eat it. Don't eat it. I
thought he was going to eat it too. I thought he was going to lick it. And I'm like, oh my God, don't do it.
And he didn't.
Just please don't.
If he did, we didn't see it. So they did not show that. But yeah, he's right on their tail. But then we're back with Alexei and Murray at the fair. And Murray is giving Alexei tickets to play some games. And this is where I think, Eric, you had referenced earlier, where he was sort of saying to Murray, saying to Alexei that they're rigged, right?
He said, this is as American as it gets. He's like, what was it? Crappy food, like over the top decadence or something. Yeah. Maybe not decadence, like depravity.
Yeah.
And rigged games. And I was like, man, like, you are not wrong.
Yes.
And I was waiting, because there's a scene later where Alexei's throwing darts. I was waiting for them to rig the game on him so that
right. Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, but then Murray wants to go off and get some food. So he's left Alexei with a whole bunch of tickets, and he's like, I'm going to go find food. You play some games. So then we're with Hop and Joyce, where, Eric, I love this moment too, where they're finding Ted and Karen in that spinning ride. So this is the same ride that earlier we had seen the mayor and Grigori, Russian Terminator. They were kind of having that conversation in there. So
actually, before we get to this, right, we have a scene where the movie lets out.
No, that's after. So
am I?
So they're at least this is how I had where like they were at the ticket. Murray gave him the tickets, and then the camera kind of pans over, and then we're with Hop and Joyce finding Ted and Karen, right? In that spinning ride.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And they're asking about the kids, and I love this moment, Eric, because they're like, hello, where are the children? And Mrs. Wheeler, Karen is just like, well, it's summer. I think they were at Lucas's, maybe Dustin's, and
you
then
know how
Max,
it is.
we have no idea it's summer. They're just running around being kids. And it's like, and I'm like, is she drunk? But also, I think that this was just, the mentality where it's like, we're at the fair. Listen, I don't know. They're around somewhere. They're just running off.
This is straight up Karen Wheeler's MO for 3 seasons. They're at one of the friends' houses. They're around here somewhere.
Ted, of course, has
it's
no idea.
Are you sure? Ted he doesn't even know where he is half the time.
Yeah.
He's Ted. But Karen seems to be an active parent, seems to actively care about her kids. Because how many times have we seen her, specifically with Nancy, have some very heartwarming scenes, and yet at the same time couldn't care less where they are right now.
Yeah,
they're around, they're doing their thing.
This is latchkey kids. This is just sort of
generation gone by.
I think absolutely, yeah. So,
but I do love that Hopper is trying to assert his authority over the ride person. He's like, hold on, just hold the ride for a second, because they're trying to have a conversation, and she goes, not on your life, Magnum, and just
oh my God.
And so they all get sucked against the wall. That's funny.
Yes, yep. And you have this moment where Joyce is going for Hopper's hand. They pan the camera down, and you can see that she's holding his hand because now they're on this ride, sucked to the wall. So,
now we go to the movie letting out. My bad.
Yes,
I was between. I have notes on Alexei on back-to-back things with this very short moment of this movie letting out, where basically Dustin is kind of trying to time it. He's like, we got to get into the crowd, because they're trying to avoid the security guards that they saw on the outside, and they get themselves into this crowd very smoothly. It's like, look, no problem. And as they come around the corner, they realize that these guards are at the gate, inspecting everybody as they get out. And one of the guards looks and sees them in the crowd. And so Dustin and the gang are like, abort, let's go. And they just turn around, start going. And I forget if it was Dustin or Robin, maybe?
Robin slid down in between the escalators.
Finds the escalators, and instead of going down them, because they've got them barricaded off, she slides down in between them, which, again, great if you can do it. Not everybody's fitting down that slide, but every one of them did. These people are crawling in ductwork. They put a bunch of the skinny kids together for this one, and Dustin is not they reference Dustin as not being the skinny kid, but he fits, and he's good to go.
He's still small.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I know, that's true. They do make mention that he's the chunky one, and I'm like, he really is, he's not.
Because the rest of you have no weight at all.
Right, compared to Mike, okay, right.
Yeah, Mike, Will, and Lucas are all
Nancy,
real slim.
They're all, yes, Steve, they're really the whole group. But then we're back at the fair, and we see Alexei. He is winning this balloon popping game with this dart, and he is just surrounded by children. Everyone is cheering for him when he hits the final dart and wins this giant Woody Woodpecker doll. So he is so happy, and I love this moment for him because we know that he is closing in on the end of his story.
Well,
so it's like,
and it's funny
had this
too,
really happy moment.
They had just talked. I know we kind of glanced through this, but they had just talked about him wanting to become an American citizen, and so this is him being an American and seeing what it's like here, and absolutely getting a taste of this is what your life could be surrounded by groups of children winning giant Woody Woodpecker dolls, and Murray is waving to him. Hey, congratulations, yeah. And just as you're seeing Murray in the background, into the foreground between them steps Grigori with a silenced pistol where he can walk right up. Alexei sees him, and then he just real quick, one shot right to the chest, and he says, "Traitor," in Russian as he walks off, because he knew who he was, and he just took him out right there. And then
right through the Woody Woodpecker.
Yep. And Murray is looking, because Alexei's clearly changed demeanor, and he kind of is dropping the Woody Woodpecker doll a little bit, and you can see all the blood on his shirt, and Murray just starts running towards him to try and help him by keeping pressure on it.
And I like how the scene went like silent at this point. So you see Murray screaming, but you don't hear, as viewers, like we're not hearing anything. It's just this really intense moment. Yeah. Where he's then running toward Alexei and grabbing him, and he kind of brings him off like in between these buildings or these booths, and he's helping him sit down, and he's taking off his own shirt to try to stop the bleeding. But I mean, this is like a chest shot. And he's, racing around then, in his tank top, like his undershirt, just racing around looking for help. And he sees Hopper, and he's screaming, "They got Alexei, they got Alexei." And Hopper is saying to Joyce, like, "Listen, we have to go." And they're running off, and they spot another person that they, I guess, connected to the Russians, and he's coming from another direction. And so they're darting around just trying to figure out the best path out. And we also see Karen Wheeler like watching them run around, and she obviously has no clue what's going on here. Just saying, they make an odd couple, don't they? And Ted is just like, "Well, hey, I guess there's someone for everyone out there."
Well, I mean,
she sort of side eyes him. I love this.
Like, they're just if you don't know, they look like crazy people just running all over the place. And Joyce does not have a good reputation as was well defined in season 1. So even with all of her successes and being right in all of this, it doesn't matter. People still think what they want to think. Yeah. And so
you'd think if they saw the sheriff, though, running around, that some people might be concerned. Like, there was no one in the fair that even noticed any of this happening, or the urgency, or anything.
Nope. They weren't worried about it. And so, Joyce is off to get the car. Yeah. And Jim then heads into the Big Top, which is like one of those, like fun mazes sort of things that they put at these fairs, but they're like multiple stories high, but really thin. Like, they're not super deep. Yeah, I was in a whole bunch of those.
Oh yeah.
But this one was a little bit more substantial than the ones I was in, because he got up to one level and it's all these heavy bags just hanging, and you have to kind of like work your way through the maze of heavy bags. And so he gets up there and kind of hides, and in comes, Russian gunman number 2. Yeah. And he just basically fights him off with a heavy bag and takes his gun and moves on to the next round, where he gets into the mirror maze, and Grigori finds the mirror maze and is in the mirror maze with him, which is a fun scene, because you're not really sure which angle they're coming from, because it looks like they're coming one way and they're actually coming another way, because all the mirrors are reflecting off each other. The way they shot it was really cool.
It was very cool. And we also have Joyce and Murray finding Alexei dead, and Murray is saying, I just stepped out for a stupid corn dog. That kind of broke my heart a bit for Murray here, because he was making that connection with Alexei, and it's like, all I wanted was for him to experience this fair. I just wanted to get some food to share, and now he's dead. So, but we have Hopper kicking that other dude's butt in the funhouse, knocking him out, grabbing the gun, right, and then grabbing the walkie-talkie too. So now he has that on him. And we also have Joyce getting to the car with Murray and seeing Larry and punching him right in the face and kicking him in the crotch. So it's like, she's like, "Screw you, dude." And Hopper.
Then they're back into the mirror maze here, and essentially, Grigori believes he sees Hopper, takes a couple shots. It's not. It's a reflection. Hopper, though, sees him for real and puts a couple bullets onto Grigori and knocks him through, and then backs out and runs out and gets in the car. And at this point, Grigori is still surviving and
he has
walks his way out.
Headshot, Hopper, headshot.
Yeah, come on, Hopper. Anyway, Grigori moves on, and Hopper is in the car driving away, and he hands the walkie-talkie to Murray, saying, hey, translate this. And essentially it's saying, we've got the kids trapped on the lower level of the mall. And Murray has got this look on his face like, oh my God. What other kids would it be? Right. It's these kids. These are the kids that we're looking for.
Right. And
so now they at least know where they are. But they're still in the car fleeing Grigori behind them still. And also, this fair.
Yeah, and you don't see the moment where then Murray is telling Joyce and Hopper about what
Murray
he heard.
Murray understands, and that's all that we get out of that.
Yeah, because now, right after that, we flip to the scene in the mall where we're watching the Russians stalk around this mall, all armed, and they're looking for the kids, and they see some head movement behind one of the concession counters, and it is Dustin, Steve, Erica, and Robin. But just about before they're about to strike, we hear this car moving behind them, and it distracts them. And
the alarm's going off.
The car comes flying across and just takes all of them out because 11 is on the upper floor, and she is just flinging this car across the room, as Dustin says, like a Hot Wheels car, right?
Yeah. He's like, you threw that thing like a Hot Wheel. And and it goes back like I had originally typed in knocked out all the guards. No, killed all the guards. They're all dead.
Yeah. It just
but knocked them out like bowling pins. Like just literally right through.
Yeah.
And this is where you get that scene that I was referring to earlier in the podcast where they're all together and they're all just trying to share all the information. And it is just like fast and furious. Like, who's this? That's Robin. Erica, why are you here? Lucas, why are you here? Blah, blah, because Erica never believed that Lucas would actually be part of this. And we have this whole like information. Oh, it's the Russians. What Russians are you talking about? The Mind Flayer is here, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh my God, what is happening? Yeah. How do we put all this together?
Yes.
Meanwhile, Elle just passes out.
Yeah, and she's hearing this like piercing sound in her ears and is falling over, and the camera pans down to her leg and it is still all messed up and she's screaming, and you can see something moving.
Yeah, it's getting rough. Like, you know that something's going on with this leg with the Mind Flayer, and this is not okay. And so we've got that. And that's how we end.
Yeah. Good episode. And honestly, Eric, talking through this again, it makes me like it even more. So I was, at first, there's some moments where, listen, like we were saying before we even kick this episode off, some issues around like, how much, some believability. Is that a word? Believability?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
And, but yeah, just the cabin scene where I feel like, it was a really cool scene. And I think that's what they were going for, is like, we want this Mind Flayer to come through the group and grab 11.
If you can believe that the Mind Flayer could not see them.
Yeah.
And they were able to get into the cabin and like, maybe they thought they could just hide there. Fine. That's the only piece, but I don't know that I believe that, but that's okay. We can believe that.
And I guess the argument could also be made for like, if they didn't attack it at all and weaken it, getting in their car, would they have been able to drive away fast enough? I don't know. The way Nancy was driving, maybe, but
listen, she was pulling 360s into the parking lot. She was going quick.
Yeah.
Well, now we're going to jump into our IMDb ratings segment of our podcast, where we talk about our ratings up against your ratings as we find them on IMDb, and we talk about our favorite and least favorite characters of the podcast. Let's see. I think the last time when we did a Friends episode, I had you go first, so I'm going to go first here.
Okay.
I will start with favorite character.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Steve. This is back-to-back Steves for me.
Oh yeah. Steve is great.
I mean, Steve, at this point, his scene with Robin wins the day for me.
It was a great scene.
It was the best scene in a episode with many very good scenes. In fact, a lot of very quick, short scenes that I thought were that added and were very fun. And with all the Back to the Future stuff going on, I thought about some of those moments when I was looking for my favorite. But I'm going to go with Steve again. I feel like he really saved the day with Robin in a way. And also is still there, like, being funny in this one. Like, all the stuff where he's out of it. He's not really in Steve mode. He's in, like, drugged out Steve mode. And it's all funny. And watching that happen, or I was always interested in those scenes. Even though part of it was escaping the Russian underground prison situation. Sure. Not prison, but, you know.
Their lab, yeah.
I still am going to go with Steve. I think there are a lot of good arguments for other people, but that's where I'm going there.
Nice.
And when it comes to my least favorite character, I'm going to go with Lucas. Lucas didn't know that bowls weren't in the cereal aisle. Lucas also wants to believe that new Coke is better than real Coke, which is crazy.
Oh man!
And so I'm not here for Lucas today, just because of those two things. Now, did he do good things throughout this episode? Sure did. He's the one who wielded the axe that cut the thing off.
That's right.
Of 11. So he did do some plenty of good things, but I think that just speaks to
that's funny. Yeah.
How many people did good things in this?
They really did. It was tough to pick the least for me as well. But I'll start with my favorite. So my favorite was Murray Bowman in this episode because I think Eric, you and I both love that comedic relief element. I think in these episodes as well, and that's why I'm here for that with Murray. He is so funny. But I also his compassion and care for Alexei. And thank God someone knows Russian. Like without Murray. We they wouldn't have known what the heck was going on.
They wouldn't know what they're doing at all.
No. So Murray is amazing. His character is great, and I feel like this episode really let him shine. So I appreciate Murray here. And for my least, I went with Karen. Because she has no idea what's going on. She has no clue. And it's like, okay, I get it though. This is a sign of the time for the most part. And I've really loved her in other seeds, but you're better than this, Karen. We know you are. You're better than this. So yeah,
it's true.
I went with
it's
her.
true.
Yeah.
Now as for ratings,
yes,
I did not rate this until we finished discussing, and I've put mine down on paper now.
Okay.
And I look back, my favorite episode of this season is Mallrats, which was the second episode of the season.
Yeah.
And I just love the nostalgia blast from that one. And so I had given that one an 8.8. And I was trying to figure out if I like this one better or worse than that. And the idea is, I think I like it the same.
Yeah.
I think I look at the same, and I look at the same for different reasons. Again, love like the little mall movie theater interactions, like all the stuff with Back to the Future certainly hits for me.
Yeah.
Far like that is more impactful for me than like The Shining. I'm not like that. That's just not my genre. So I get the references, but it's not really my area that I connect with. So the Back to the Future stuff, that was very cool. Steve and Robin, very cool. All the stuff at the fair with Murray and Alexei was great. Even the cabin scene where we're giving it a little bit of hard time because they should have just run.
It was the a cool idea scene.
That it's a very cool scene. Like once you're in the cabin, you're in the cabin, and now it becomes a very cool scene to watch.
Yeah.
The only issues I have at this point are still the escape from the Russian underground, which at this point is already in full force.
Yeah.
Like they're already driving away by the time this episode starts. So it's a lot less about that than it is about anything else. And I think because of that, because of all the other things, you're also getting Dustin connected with the group again. Like,
sure,
this really goes well. And I really like the new Coke scene and like 11 in front of the Eggos, all that. It all comes together very well.
Yeah.
There are so few moments in this one that I wasn't interested in watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna put this pretty high. I'm gonna give it an 8.8.
Yeah. I like that score. I mean, it's tough because sometimes when I look back at my prior scores, like I know the last episode I gave a 9, and I really love that episode, and I really love this episode as well. There were some parts that, yeah, I just had a little bit of an issue with. Again, the cabin scene, it wasn't quite as strong as some others, and I do wish that they had all gotten together as a big group sooner. I kind of was hoping that happened like earlier on in this episode, and we sort of moved the story along faster. But I also did love the nostalgia of the fair scene. I mean, it was a great episode. But I think it was a little bit lower than the previous one for me. Because I just wish that they moved that storyline along a little bit faster. But again, Eric, like you know, I've mentioned, I love the Back to the Future references. That was awesome.
Yes.
So I went just one tick below yours. I gave this one an 8.7.
I think that's. I mean, listen, I gave it an 8.8. I think that's the spot. I think it's not quite a 9 to me.
Yeah.
It's not quite a 9.
And I might have been a little generous with my last week's, but sometimes it's just the way it hits when you're watching it. So I always stand by my ratings.
And I'll say this. I did look into this because I also thought, like, man, there is just the fact that they're not getting together until the very last scene of this is kind of like a down mark on the season.
Right.
You know,
Agreed.
It's not for this episode, but it's a down mark for the season. This is too late. But I did look, and the runtime on the last episode is like 30 minutes longer than most of the others.
It's like an hour 18, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So that does impact it a little, right? Because now it's an 8-episode season, but it's like 8.5.
Yes, agreed.
You know, because that episode is so long. So that does factor in a little bit, which means the gang is together. Like if they were always getting together in episode 7 and there were 9 episodes, you know, they would still have 2.5 episodes. This is going to be like 1.5 to 2 episodes.
Yep.
But I mean, we still haven't got Joyce and Hopper into the mall yet.
Right.
And that's the thing.
Right.
Like, you know, this is where this is all going. We know the gate is under the mall. We know this is where the Russians are. We know Murray can speak Russian. This is where it's going down.
Yep.
Like, we just got to get everybody in the same spot. And we're almost all there. And I have a feeling that when the next episode turns up, I mean, we're going to be within the first 5 to 10 minutes and Joyce and Hopper are pulling into the mall.
I mean, this has got to be part of the challenge for these writers with these 8-episode seasons now. They have to get right to the point. You can't be dragging out these storylines through like 24 episodes.
Well,
you got to like condense it all, right? So they're trying to make this
I
all
will
make
say,
sense. It's a lot.
So if you were going to tell me right now, if I look back and I say, hey, there was so much time spent on this other thing that doesn't really matter, where did we lose time? Well, the only scene I can see going back where I feel like we lost time would be in the very first episode where we had them all setting up this remote transmitter for Susie, which will come into play in the next episode.
But there was a lot of time.
We haven't gone back to that yet.
Yeah, up on the hill.
That, they spent all this time doing that, and that will come back into play.
Yep.
And we also had a lot of like Mrs. Wheeler, is she going to go out with Billy or not stuff? And that never really did anything for anybody.
No.
I don't think...
But I do feel like, you know what, though? They do a great job, though, with, I feel like, closing the loop on, like, having either things contribute to a character's development, so understand who they are more, or circling back and making sure, hey, yeah, we are going to know what that radio, that transmitter was set up for, and it does all serve a purpose. And that, to me, is huge, because we've all seen shows where it's like, wait, why did they even put that detail in? I can't really think of too many things with this show where I feel like it was just useless, right? And I really appreciate that. I'm sure that there are things that happened, but it isn't glaring in this show to me at all.
No, like the funny thing is, I feel like the Karen and Billy stuff at the beginning got Billy in the car.
Yep.
Going to the hotel, which is what spurred on this whole thing. It also gave Karen, because then Karen had that discussion with Nancy in the middle of the season, right? And so that gave that conversation a little bit more context and perspective.
Yeah.
You know, there are moments that all of this kind of attributes to, and I'm glad that they've been able to close all the loops. The only loop that's not closed right now is this big radio tower that they put up, and they're going to close that one in the next episode in one of my most favorite things that they do. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, this last episode is really good. I'm very excited for the rewatch coming up.
Well, before we forget, because I tend to forget when we do these things every now and then.
What do the people say?
We have to talk about your ratings.
Yeah.
So I gave it, let's recap. I gave it an 8.8. You gave it an 8.7. And upon my research here, the people have given it an 8.7.
Oh!
So they are spot on with us here.
Okay.
Love it. I'm glad to see that. It is the highest rating in a few episodes. It is the second highest rating of the season, the sauna test. So far being the people's favorite.
That was a good one.
And I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I had a high rating there. It wasn't my highest, but
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
that was a good
one.
That
was such a good scene. Oh my God. Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to the We Run on Reruns podcast. Please check out our socials on Instagram and our TikTok and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really appreciate all the support we are seeing there. And if you'd like to, you could check out our website, werunonreruns.com, where we have all of our podcasts in full. You can also find them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your other favorite podcast players. For Amanda, this is Eric. Enjoy watching the finale of Stranger Things Season 3, Episode 8 this week. Happy rerunning, everybody.
See you later, guys.